y'all, so I decided I would offer pedicures in my private salon once open. So I went on a hunt for a footrest that would be tall enough so I wouldn't hurt my back. And I couldn't find one, so I decided to make my own. I went to Home Depot and purchased wood. The wood was 2 by 10 by 12 feet long. It was $16.84. I had that wood cut down. I had 4 legs cut to 1 foot by 4 inches. I had 2 tops cut 2.5 feet long. I then went to Joann and purchased fabric, white vinyl. I got 2 yards of that. It was $24.99 a yard, so that was $50. And I also purchased 3-inch foam from Joann's, and it was $33.74. The materials was enough to make 2 footrests. And if you like to know how I made this footrest, just keep on watching. This is actually the second footrest that I'm making. I'm using a box cutter with the wood placed on top of the styrofoam to make sure that the styrofoam is the same width and length as the wood. Once I cut that, I removed the wood. The styrofoam is kind of thick, so I decided to go ahead and try to cut through. I will pick this up and fold it and go all the way through the other side. I would advise that you try to cut your styrofoam as even as possible because it will show through the fabric. You can see it on the finished product, but it didn't bother me, so it still came out nice. So that's what I'm doing here. It didn't take me long to do this second one because I did it a different way from the first one, and it was a lot easier. Just make sure you careful with the and I know it may not look like I am, but it's sped up, but I am being careful so I won't cut myself. But this is how I did the first part. Once I got that foam cut out, then I move on to screwing the wood together. So now I'm taking that 2.5 foot part and putting it on top of the leg. I'm going to take some screws and a drill and screw those screws down into the wood. You got to make sure you're not close to the corner, because if you're close to the corner, my husband say you'll split the wood. He actually had to help me. I had to call him about this drill because it wasn't going down easy. He said I had it on the wrong setting. So once I got in touch with him and he told me what setting to put it on, it was much easier for me to get those screws down in there. So that's all I'm doing here, and I'm doing that in all 4 corners. So now I'm going to take this fabric and put it over the top and try to leave as much space as I can so that it can wrap under the bottom. You want to make sure you got enough to overlap. If you don't, then it's going to be too short. You won't be able to staple it up under the wood. Here I'm taking this fabric and making sure that it overlaps. Of course I have plenty enough, but I just need to make sure, do I have enough for it to wrap all the way around? Do I have enough for me to do the sides? gonna see me get some more foam. It was a gap in between the fabric and the wood, and I didn't like that gap, so I added some more foam so that it can look more plush. That's optional. If you want to do that, you can do that. And then I'm cutting the fabric so that I can wrap the fabric under the wood so it wouldn't go with the legs being right there. So I cut it right directly where the legs is so that I could wrap it and staple it around. Here I'm using my staple gun. I'm just going to put 2 staples in each corner and a staple probably in the center, 2 or 3 staples in the center. This just to hold the fabric down so that I can flip it over and start working on the sides. I'll go back with the stapler at the end and staple all the way across and then cut that fabric. You'll see me cutting some fabric that was overlapped. I just did that so that I can see on the other side. That was it. But I don't completely cut the fabric to length until I finish with So now I'm going to work on the sides. All that I am doing is rolling those sides. I'm not putting any creases in them. I'm just rolling them and laying them flat. There is excess material on the bottom that you will need to cut later. And I'm just using the staple gun to hold those down until I get my box cutter and my razor blade. I don't know what it's called. X-Acto knife, I think that's what it is. To finish off the sides. In the front of the legs, I rolled those as well and used a nail from the staple gun. It's a 3-in-1 to secure those to the legs. So it's just rolled on the bottom instead of cut on the side on the legs, and then the sides are cut with a box cutter and an X-Acto knife. I'm just going ahead and securing the fabric under the bottom with the staple gun all the way across. Remember earlier I said I hadn't secured it yet. I was just trying to make sure it's together. So this is where I'm securing it. I'm going all the way across with the staple gun. After I get all those staples in, I'm going to cut that fabric to probably 1/2 inch away from the staples so that you don't have the excess fabric that's going to be hanging under the bottom. And that'll complete it. Next, I'm going to paint the legs gold with some metallic paint that I got from Home Depot, and I'm going to put brackets on the bottom. It just gave it a more secure hold. Even though it was already sturdy, I just wanted to make sure that the legs didn't get loose, which I don't think they will, because I used long screws and it was pretty sturdy before I put the brackets on it. It was just for extra security for me, and that'll be the end. how it came out. I ended up with 2. Like I said, if you have enough material to make 2 of these footrests, and I actually have already used it and it was perfect. My back didn't hurt, I wasn't slumped over, the client was comfortable, so I suggest these if you can't find one yourself. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and like this video. Thanks.